All right, we want to take a deeper dive now and welcome back New York State Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul. We so appreciate you being here for us again, Lieutenant Hochul. How are you tonight?
Great, thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, we heard the governor today say the numbers suggest a plateauing of COVID-19. Perhaps the worst of the coronavirus is over if we continue to be smart. You know, everybody wants to get back to work, back to school, but as the governor said, you can't just flip a switch. How and when do you envision our return of some semblance of normalcy here in central New York and across the state?
That is the one question we've been asked constantly, but do not have an answer to. I mean, the governor and I have been very candid in dealing with the constituents that we represent across the state of New York, and we don't want to sugarcoat it, but we also don't want to give a more dire prediction than is the facts bear out. So the good news is that there's been a flattening of the curve, and in places like upstate, and I was just speaking to the leaders of Onondaga County today to make sure we have a good handle on what's going on. You know, there seems to be no increase in the number of hospitalizations, which is important. So we are very anxious to get back to work as well, and some sense of normalcy, but the governor's going to do it very thoughtfully. And teaming up with our partners around the other states makes sense, so we don't have a disjointed approach to this. But it's all going to be driven by our public health concerns and also common sense in terms of, you know, what industry should be brought back sooner. You can't operate in a vacuum. The schools are tied to transportation and are tied to the economy. So there has to be a well thought out position that'll help us understand that we have to do this right, because you don't get a second chance. If we start again too early, we'll undo all the sacrifice and the anxiety that's been created and people losing their jobs. We don't want to go back to that. We've suffered a lot. The people of the state of New York have been outstanding in terms of participating in something that we weren't sure would happen. The numbers would be much worse if the residents of New York did not step up and engage in the social distancing. So when we start to release the valve, as the governor says, and letting activity start up again, we have to be very smart about that approach so we don't end up back where we started from and have to do this all over again. Yeah. That would be the worst nightmare scenario.
Right, let's talk a little bit more about that. The governor mentioning you've got to use experts, science, data over politicians in the planning of the reopening. So how delicate of a balance is it, saving lives and still saving livelihoods?
And you have to get that right. You have to make sure that we put public health at the forefront, which is what has been driving every decision we've made since this pandemic hit New York State, but also recognizing that there is a strong desire by everyone, particularly us, to get the economy back going in some measure. Now, it'll be a slower rollout. It's not going to be all at once, and that's just a reality. And what happens with schools? We don't have the answers yet, but we have the questions, and that's why assembling teams from each of the regional states, our health department, the governor's chief of staff, as well as people who can talk about economic development, those are the ones that are going to help drive this decision. So I think it's important for the residents to know we are not out of the woods. We don't want you to stop what you're doing. Otherwise, we're going to go backwards. We don't want to slide backwards at all. But they should know that we are focused intensely on what the new normal looks like, how we get back to some sense of normalcy in the state of New York. And so I think that gives people a sense of encouragement. Stay the course, and we'll get there on a proper time frame that's being developed right now.
And you said you had a conversation with Onondaga County leaders. Can you fill us in a little bit on how that conversation went?
Certainly, and I stay in regular touch with Mayor Walsh and County Executive McMahon, and you know, they've been great partners of ours. I want to say that we wouldn't be where we are if we didn't have them reinforcing the message that's been coming out of Albany and our administration. They've been outstanding. But I also want to find out how our testing is going. Do we have shortages of supplies? How are the hospitals responding? What's our hospital bed capacity? And that's why it's important for me as an upstater myself, who's, as you know, went to Syracuse University. My heart is in the community as well, and I want to make sure that everyone feels they're well taken care of.
All right, and what was your assessment of how we're doing in central New York?
Doing very well. And I think there's should be some pride in that because of social distancing, and if people, again, keep going forward and don't take your foot off the pedal on this because you're making a difference, and the hospitals are in good place. There's been a lot of testing that's been able to be conducted, which is important, but we won't get back to the old economy or perhaps a new economy until we have more widespread testing, not just to see if people have the coronavirus now, but we also are going to want to test and see whether or not they had it in the past and developed antibodies that'll protect them from contracting in the future. And they would be the first wave of people that go back into the economy when we know that they can't expose someone else. So I have these conversations about what our testing capacity is now and where we're going forward.
All right, that's good. Yeah, we want to know if we had it, did we have it? And yeah, absolutely. Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul, we so appreciate you taking time out for us every week. And please keep us updated.
Will do. Thank you.